Hey, we're back. We're going to be illustrating some more Golden Era wrestlers today. We've got a few really good ones, so stick around. We're going to be drawing Mr. Perfect, Ultimate Warrior. There's going to be some Razor Ramones. There's going to be some Macho Mans. There's going to be some Bret Hitman's Hearts. Some Yokos and Zunas, and also some Big's Boss's Men's. There's going to be those two. This Mr. Perfect was the first drawing, at least in the wrestling world, that I had done in this style. And I really just wanted to do something simple and focus on shapes and really just kind of the essence of the character. With this style, I really like to just think about who the character is rather than just what their nose looks like, or, oh, this is the perfect eye for this person. So sometimes I'll draw a pretty accurate kind of depiction of their features, but sometimes I'll do something like this where it's more about shape and kind of the feeling that they have. Obviously, Ultimate Warrior does not look like just a weird 1960s shape. But I thought about like his promo work. He's so crazy. So I added a bunch of his promo, like little pieces of his promos in here. There's the rocket fuel and the lawnmower, and yeah, just all kinds of crazy stuff that he says, and added it in there. For Razor, I wanted to get his face, because his face and his hair and that little toothpick are so much of his character in those early days. But then you have to give him that little ooh kind of finger thing that he does. So I thought this was like the perfect pose for it, where he's kind of lurching forward. And things like the details are pretty important. These little bits of color and line that are pulled up, almost like a poor printing job or the misregister, it adds so much to the overall look of the illustration. So I want to keep the consistency there too with all of these. And you can see that there was some other iterations of Macho Man there on the left, but they didn't feel the same as the other drawings. So oftentimes what I'll do is I'll overlay one of my older drawings, really older drawings, like one of these first ones, even when I'm working today. I'll take one of these and I'll overlay it and see, are the bodies similar? You know, a lot of times I go, wow, the style has definitely evolved from where it was to now where it is. And I like to go back to this simpler, silly kind of... These feel a little bit more authentic to me because they have a silliness to them, and they have kind of just a playfulness that when you get too wrapped up in the toughness character of these, they lose some of their charm, because the charm, I think, comes from the goofiness of them. And speaking of which, Bret Hart, his persona is completely serious. From the beginning of his career to now, it has always pretty much felt like a serious character, the Hitman. And so bringing some of that whimsical, I hate that word so much, some whimsicality. Oh, that's even worse. Whimsicality. I feel like I should have... I'm not going to edit that out. But bringing some of that feel, that whimsicality to this, it was a challenge, but it still worked out, because I kept on shifting back and forth and looking at the old drawings, and then you work it out and you make sure that everything fits together tonally. I feel like this Yokozuna actually is a bit different than the rest of them, but because he has such a bold statement as a persona, he's so big in the ring physically, that I felt like he needed a little more weight. The reason I say it feels a little different is because instead of just having a flat color that was going to be like his clothes or whatever, I gave his body some actual tone to show kind of the weight. You can see it's like shadowing. And none of the other guys have that shadowing, but I felt like it fit really well with him. And as long as I kept his pants, what are the leotard? I don't know what he is wearing. It's not really a mawashi, so Anyway, too much information, maybe. Let's end on a high note. Here's the big boss man, another big man, technically a big man in the wrestling scene. This guy was fantastic. What an athlete for how big he was. I mean, same with Yokozuna. Huge athlete for as large as he was. Boss Man was so fun to draw. I loved doing this. The bottom half is totally comes from like UPA cartoon. You can look up UPA cartoon commercials, and they just are basically a shape with eyes or a mouth that are cut out. And I just love that kind of bowl with sticks for legs. And it worked really well for him because his pants are so dark, and it's just like a nice bold shape to anchor him. And then that light blue of his shirt kind of plays off that dark really well. So that was really fun to do him. I had to be really subtle with the hair and kind of shaved the shaved part of a hair. What is it called? Like the side of your head. The shaved part of a hair. If you go a little bit lighter, it always looks pretty good. You just take that hair color and you go a little bit lighter on the side, and it comes out pretty nice. So that's it. That's this set. We are done. Look at that. 2, 3. I can count them all. I know how to count. 4, 5. Look, I'm good. 6. And